up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be working on the ZX. I say working on it. We're going to be talking about the 300ZX a little bit. As you can tell, we got the LS7 out here in the shop. Had to use the mower, my little trailer, get the engine hoist back and forth, get the motor over here, and get it ready to drop inside the ZX. As you can see, there's no engine in it right now. I was going to film taking the motor out of it, but there's so many videos out there of people doing engine swaps, pulling the motors out, putting them back in, whatever. So I really didn't want to film that and just be another one out there. It was a nasty engine bay. It was a little bit tight getting under it and stuff. I don't think the film quality would have been great. But regardless, I got the motor out. I did clean the engine bay up a little bit. That was absolutely disgusting. But we did use like purple power, simple green. I'll show you how good it worked. Worked phenomenal. But then we did do stuff to the LS7. So I will go over a little bit of what we've done. As you can tell, it's dressed up. Looks like it's ready to get dropped in. So we did get some of the swap parts put on. But we will not be putting the motor in today. The motor mounts to put it in will be here, I think, Wednesday or Thursday of next week. Today is Sunday. So we got a few days. I'll film putting that in probably. But yeah, let's get into it. Let me show you what we've done and what the plans are with the car. So first we'll go over the engine bay. When I was removing the motor, I did have to take the front bumper and crash bar off because the engine hoist, the hydraulic ram part of it, would not let the hoist go in far enough to pull the motor out. So with the crash bar and the nose cone and everything off, it allows it to slide perfectly right in here. So that allowed us to pull it out real easy. The engine bay, it has not been painted or anything, so it still has a little bit of, surface grime that I'll try to get off, but, it's got paint flaking back here. But overall, it's in really good shape. The brake lines all look freaking great on this thing. I thought there was going to be a little bit of rust on the brake lines and fuel lines, but they're all clean. So we cleaned it all up. I power washed all inside of these crevices. That was caked with oil dirt. Like the connectors still have some on it, which we'll clean those up a little bit more. But I was mainly concerned about getting the cross member clean and just not having a dirty engine bay to lean over and get all messy. So as far as cleaning wise, I did use simple green. I didn't dilute it, I used full concentrate. I tried purple power, it did pretty good. But the simple green just ate it away on all the crud and everything. But as you can see, this is all nice. Frame rails are back to white. Transmission is out as well. All of it's completely out. So we did get all that removed. The old motor is sitting under the shelf for now, out of the way. Which we did get a new shelf today, actually. I put it up. I gotta do some rearranging so the TV's not as blocked, but allowed us to have a little bit more storage. And then I did get this one moved over here as well. Gives us more storage. Front bumper's chilling up top with the nose cone and everything. So yeah, engine's out. I did pull the engine harness out. As you can see, the boot here is completely empty. So I think I'm going to use that boot to run the Holley Terminator, Fuel Tech, whatever I do, run that into the cab. And right inside here, which the OE wood cover is in great shape. Like there's no signs of any rot with it. But the factory ECU mounted down here, and let me see if I can get some light real quick. So factory ECU mounted down here, had a bracket that bolted there, down there, and I think one or two up there. That held it in place. I'm going to probably utilize that bracket to hold the standalone ECU and try to keep it in this factory location. It'll be super accessible if I need to do anything with it. And then I don't know what this module goes to here, but I did give myself plenty of wire length to be able to wire whatever in I need to, because I do plan on wiring up the factory gauges. With LOJ, they have like oil pressure adapters, coolant temp sensor adapters and stuff to be able to run the factory gauges from the LS. So we'll be doing that. But overall, it cleaned up pretty good. I did get on jack stands. It's not on ramps anymore or on the wheel dollies because I need to take the wheels off, and then I need to probably tear down part of the suspension because I do want to do new tie rod ends. I got to rebuild the steering rack or put a new one in because the boot on this side is leaking horribly. This thing was just completely caked in grease. I think most of the oil was coming from that was covering the cross member, but also that thing is disgusting as well. So I'm probably gonna do some suspension parts as well. Once the motor is in there, I do want to get coilovers put on it, adjustable arms and everything, and then probably going to leave these wheels and tires to drive on it. I think wheels and tires are my last concern because we are going to do the body kit and everything. And with that body kit, I don't know how much more of a flare it's going to give, so I don't want to get the wrong offset. I want this car to be completely perfect in my vision that I have. But yeah, it's all completely out. The fun begins. The worst part was removing the old motor and cleaning it up. I mean, I had this whole shop with about 1.5 inches of water in it, so I had to squeegee it all out the door and just get it all dried out. And got 3 fans in here. So, and then on to the engine side of it. The LS7. I don't remember how it was last. But we got map sensor, new GM throttle body. We did get injectors. I did get coil packs, OE plug wires with the boot, heat shield. And then the dry sump had to get removed off of it because LOJ said there was no way to get the factory dry sump to clear the cross member and steering rack. So I went ahead, did the wet sump conversion on it. So we got a LS3 balancer, we got LS3 timing cover, and then I did a BTR stage 1 cam. Only reason I did a stage 1 is because I'm not going to be racing this thing. I'm not going to be drifting it. I might go to the track occasionally, but I don't want to beat on it too much. I really just wanted to build a cruiser to be able to go to LS Fest, all sorts of other stuff. Heat and AC, the whole 9 yards, just to be able to drive it and potentially daily drive it for quite a while. But we had to get the Scoggin-Dickey spacer. I'm not bashing Holley in any way, but I had big issues with the Holley spacer for the dry sump to wet sump conversion. The Scoggin-Dickey does center itself in the machine part of the balancer. The Holley one did not, and it was machined too tight. So when I was pressing on the LS3 balancer and that spacer, it seized up on there, and I had to take this whole motor to machine shop, have them remove the busted balancer because it was stuck so much. I tried to remove the balancer with 2 different tools, and it snapped the whole outside of the balancer off. So they removed that. Over there at Henson Racing Engines, they got that taken care of. And then I had them machine the balancer and the Scoggin-Dickey spacer 1032 to allow it to press on smoothly but still be tight, a press fit, so this damper does not spin on the crank. And then we did get the LOJ Conversions oil pan. The oil pan, honestly, exceeded my expectations on build quality. What's nice about their pans, it includes hardware, and when you do the wet sump conversions on LS7s, you have to drill the provision in the block for the dipstick tube, which is right here, because these did not have a dipstick through the block factory because it was dry sump. But their oil pan, the dipstick goes into the pan itself, not in the block. So I do not need to worry about drilling the pan or anything. It just threads right into or drilling the block for the dipstick tube, but it threads right into the pan. Then it's got -8AN for the oil filter relocation. And this thing is stout. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's 3/16 steel. But this thing is stout and it is honestly pretty heavy. But I'm not too concerned about it. I'm gonna put a skid plate under the bottom of it. I think Z Nation sells them or something like that. But we're gonna put a skid plate just to help protect it, because I do want it to ride low, but not super low. I want it to be still daily drivable. But yeah, that's the update on the LS7. I will be doing a video getting it set into the car. The reason I'm gonna put it in the car, it will be getting pulled back out, of course, to put the transmission on and everything. But I'm setting it in there so I can mock up the cooling system, accessory brackets, and then get it to the point where I can fire it up and be able to, you know, wire in the factory gauges, make sure the oil pressure, coolant temp, and all that work. So I want to be able to have the motor running in the car, and then later on, like towards the end, I'm going to get the transmission, get the drive shaft, the one-piece drive shaft from LOJ, and get it to where it's drivable. But if it's in the car and running, it'll allow me to finish everything up and tidy the engine bay up how I want it. Like I said, I do plan on taking some time to get this done the way I'd like, but all this wiring over here, I want to be able to thin that out. I do need to keep this to be able to have headlights, turn signals, some other stuff like that. But I am going to use the factory relay circuit for like the cooling fan, so that'll be nice to have. It'll just make it more OE plus in my mind. So we will be doing that. It allows me to retain air conditioning, all sorts of other stuff. Like I'll use some of these circuits for other things, and then just obviously relabel it if I can. But like as far as fuel system goes, we'll be taking these lines out, and it has metal lines all the way back right here. So I'm going to take these rubber hoses off and have somebody come out, weld on AN fittings for that feed and return line. And then I'm probably going to mount the fuel pressure regulator somewhere up out of the way. I like fuel pressure regulators. Some of them look great, but I do not like the look of them in the engine bay. It's very, I don't know, it bothers me seeing the fuel pressure regulators in the engine bay. I don't know why, it's very a weird thing to be bothered by. But we're gonna get that done if I can. Of course, I'll try to mount it in this area, mount it over here, somewhere in that pocket, to where it's easily accessible to adjust the fuel pressure. But I've even thought about using the C5 Corvette fuel filter. I've used that on plenty of my LS swaps. It works great, but I don't know that I want to go that route on this car. A lot of people do it on these cars. It works just fine. It would be the easier route, in my opinion. I could mount the fuel filter in that pocket over there, have the feed and return using the factory lines, and have, you know, just the one feed going to the engine. But I want to try something a little different. I do want to do a pressure regulator just to go that route. And then, yeah, as far as the other plans with the swap, after the motor's set in there, the two biggest expenses are going to be radiator from LOJ. They're over $2,000, I believe. But it's a very nice radiator. Like the way it's set up, you have your filler neck here on the radiator, and then it has a pipe coming off to connect your upper radiator hose. So it's a straight hose and then a 90 to go right into the water pump. So it's super clean. I mean, it's a super short hose, super clean install. And then using their radiator, it allows me to run a condenser so I can have AC. There's some other companies that make radiators that lay them down under the front here, and as much as I do like the way those look and the cost difference, I mean, it's obviously a lot cheaper. I'm probably going to go with LOJ just because I do want to retain AC. I do want this thing to be as much of a daily driver as it could ever be. And the next biggest expense are the headers from LOJ. They're beautiful pieces of art, honestly. And I think they're made by Cooks, and they carry a lifetime warranty to the original purchaser. So if I ever have an issue with them, I would take them off, probably send them to LOJ or Cooks, and they'll warranty them out for whatever issues I have, cracking, whatever. So I'm gonna run the LOJ headers, LOJ mid pipes. Pretty much everything on the swap is gonna be LOJ, down to the pressure line for the steering rack. I'm going to run braided lines, so they already make one that goes to the Corvette power steering pump, but I'm going to be using the ICT billet accessory bracket that uses a 98 to 02 Camaro power steering pump. I think the thread pitch is the same, but I might have to get some adapters to make that braided line work. So I'm going to stick with that route just because I like the way it's set up. It has power steering and the alternator on this side. And then it also allows me to run the ICT billet AC compressor bracket on this side that uses a sand-in compressor. It's a very compact, small unit. So I shouldn't have any issues with that compressor interfering with, you know, the strut tower, stuff like that. And then I'll just have to take my fittings, the hoses, the OE hoses that have the fitting sizes, and have a hose shop in the city that's made plenty of AC hoses for me. Have them make some custom hoses or buy a universal kit with the fittings, cut them to length, and then have them go crimp them. But we're gonna do that, get AC going, and slowly start picking away. There are gonna be projects in between this car. I do have a project I'm gonna show you that I just picked up. As you saw in the last video, I have my Volvo S90 that is my daily driver, but even though it's all-wheel drive, I don't want to drive it in the wintertime in the snow and stuff. And also, I need something to tow this thing around with. What I got is not necessarily the best tow rig, but it'll work. I think it'll work just fine. So, I think that's everything with the 300ZX. It's not an exciting update, but it's something. But from this point on, everything I do will be recorded, of course, and going on YouTube. I do want to document the build for my own sake, my own purpose. I want to have that. And there might be some people out there that want to follow along as well. LS7 is a little bit different to swap in there, not much. You just have to do the wet sump conversion. Like we got to take these heads off as well and either take them to GPI over in Arkansas, drop them off and have them do the head fix to install the longer guides, or get Frankenstein M712 heads, but I've not decided what I'm doing yet. I'm gonna go ahead and get the motor in there, get everything mocked up that I can. I'm not gonna fire the motor up with those heads on it, because if I take them to GPI, these are brand new heads. They won't do any machine work to them, of course, so that'll save me some money there. I'm not saying that running them will have to get machine work done, but it'll just build carbon up a little bit here and there. And I don't want to deal with that. I want to have clean heads going to them, no coolant in them or anything. So that's got to be done. I will film that trip. That'll be a fun trip. We'll go to GPI. Apparently they have some pretty sweet stuff on like their showroom or whatever. They got a whole bunch of cool stuff. They build a lot of nice stuff over there. So we'll be doing that if we go the GPI route. And then Frankenstein, they're only a few hours away from me, so if I do decide to go to them, we'll also film going down there and picking those heads up if I do that. But that'll be here in the next month or two, hopefully. But yeah, that's about all for the ZX. I did power wash the outside when I was cleaning it because I was already making a mess, so it's nice and clean. So now we're gonna look at the new project. You've probably seen glimpses of it in the background from this video, but it is a 98 Toyota 4Runner. And I got this thing technically for a smoking deal. I had a Gen 460 that it was a higher mileage one, and it dropped a valve seat, and they thought it was a bottom end knock, but it's actually the valve hitting the piston. Didn't bend any rods, didn't mess the motor up at all, but it needed new heads and stuff. And I planned on building that and putting it into a like 2008 to 13 truck. But my buddy had this 4Runner and wanted to trade. So technically I bought this 4Runner for $200. So I think it's a good deal. It's a limited, does have a tow hitch on the back already. Sunroof, I still have it a little torn apart in here. But it's got leather seats. It's dirty, I need to vacuum it and stuff, but I need to get it running correctly first. But it's nice. I mean, for the year and for how cheap it was, it's honestly pretty dang nice. Headliner's not sagging or anything. It's solid unit. So I'm not too upset with the purchase. The only issue we have with it is on the 3.4. It was my buddy's. I helped him do a new timing belt on it and stuff.
But we got it fired up, and it was running good at his place on the first fire up, and then apparently he went to start a few days after that, and it's been having a misfire. Like at idle, it'll just backfire and pop out of the exhaust. So things that I had done that I thought may be the issue to hopefully get it fixed and be on the road pretty quick. I mean, I did new plugs, wires, coil packs, and then new intake gaskets, new injectors, double checked the timing. It was off by a tooth. I was almost confident that was the issue, because before, when he got it to my house, you would go wide open to start it, and it just smelled like unburnt fuel, and you have to hold it wide open, and it, no joke, wouldn't even go like a mile an hour, maybe 2 mile an hour at most. You let off the gas, it would die. So on the timing belt, it was off a tooth. So I did the old trick where you take like your screwdriver bit and you stick it inside the belt and you crank it over by hand. It jumps that belt one tooth. I did that on both sides. All the timing marks line up perfectly. Got it back together with new injectors, and I fired it up. Still had a miss. Motor sounded a lot better, and then it now has power to where it actually would get into like second and third gear. But at idle, it misfires the way it was. It backfires and pops out of the exhaust. So I gutted the cat, and the cat, of course, wasn't the issue, but I gutted it just in case all that unburnt fuel caused it to clog up or anything. So I did that and put a new igniter module in it and did a new ECU, a known good ECU. That didn't fix it either. There's two simple things to just swap out just to try, but that didn't fix it either. And after I got that done, I just kind of stopped messing with it and just let it sit here, because I've been focusing on getting all of this taken care of. But I have a feeling it's got 300-something thousand miles on it. So I have a feeling that the motor, something could be hurt, or this harness could have an issue. I'm gonna pull the intake off and just check the harness, because the previous owner, before my buddy got it, sprayed ether in the throttle body, or the intake essentially, and it backfired because the timing was off when he had it. And it backfired through the intake and caught the engine bay on fire, which, like, this harness here, this loom isn't factory, so it goes to the igniter in mass air. So I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check the injector wiring, and like all of the ones going to the ECU here through the firewall, it all looks fine. But I'm gonna check all that and see if it might be a harness issue, because I don't want to put the low mile salvage motor in it and still have the same issue. So I want to see exactly what the problem is with this. The compression was decent on it. It's around like the 120 on all the cylinders, 130. So it should still run fine, but not be as peppy, of course, as a lower mile motor with 150, 160 PSI compression. So I'm gonna do some other small things. I don't think cleaning the mass air is gonna fix it, but I'm gonna try that. But it's got a misfire on cylinder 1, cylinder 5, and cylinder 4. So like I can fire it up and unplug this injector here, and it stops, which is number 1. It'll stop backfiring and popping through the exhaust. So it tells me that the overfueling, I say overfueling, it's probably something to do with spark, because it's getting fuel to these cylinders. Because I pulled the plugs out, the ones that are misfiring were all wet. All the other ones are dry, wet with fuel. So I have a feeling it might be something to do with spark, like ignition wise, ignition timing. So that's why I put the igniter module in it, because that is in charge of ignition timing. That didn't fix it. So I'm hoping there's an issue with a wire or a ground that's messed up through here. I know there's some ground wires that are supposed to be on here, and I don't see some of them where they're supposed to be at. So like we have this one here, which it's good, it's where it's supposed to be. Supposed to have 2 over here. I didn't see one. There's the 5 wires on the intake on the other side. Those are there. So I'm gonna go through and just check the wiring. It's free labor, like it's free. It doesn't cost me anything to look at the wiring, but I'd really hate to put a motor in and still have the same problem. But it's cheap. I'm not complaining about it, because it was a cheap car, and if I can get it driving, then it's great. It's a winter toy, and from there on, it can be whatever, honestly. It can just be a daily driver. It can be sold to make money either way I'm fine, but I do want to figure it out. So that'll be a couple videos there. We'll go through and film like what we find, how we're diagging it, and mess with it from there. But
so overall, that's about the update we have. I'm honestly real excited about having the LS7 and the ZX. Every time I see this motor, it still shocks me that I was able to find one, able to get one. It's new, and able to build something like this. I've never built anything as crazy or extreme as this. I did LS swap like my Suburban, had the Caprice as a nitrous 5.3 and stuff, but I've never had something to this extent. So this will be very fun to me. I'm excited about it. It'll be fun. But I do want to take my time on this car. I do want to make it look really good. I do want to use quality parts. So I'm excited, to say the least. I'm really excited. So I think that'll be it for today. If you guys enjoy the content, please follow, like, subscribe. It all helps us out. Give me your ideas. I love seeing ideas and hearing them. But yeah, hopefully there's a lot more videos getting uploaded of more fun, exciting, in-depth stuff. I just want to make an update post so y'all see where we're at and know what to expect from here. Like, we're about to have a lot of fun. So as always, guys, I really appreciate you, and we will see you in the next one.